Hello and welcome to Council Conversations. It's my pleasure to share this opportunity to introduce you to the men and women who serve as our elected body and represent you, the residents of Greensboro. Join us as we take you outside the four walls of this council chamber and visit different locations throughout our great city that represent initiatives of particular interest to our city council. Again, welcome to Council Conversations. Today's Council Conversations brings us to McGirt-Horton Library, and I have the pleasure of interviewing Mayor Pro Tem Yvonne Johnson. Mayor Pro Tem, it's always nice to see you. Thank you for taking time out to sit with us today.
Sure.
So getting started, participatory budgeting was a new concept that was rolled out last year, enabling the citizens to basically tell City Council how they wanted some dollars to be spent in their respective districts. Tell me how you played a role in spearheading participatory budgeting.
Well, I chaired the committee that did the investigation and really vented participatory budgeting. It came to us maybe two and a half years ago. And when I really learned that participatory budgeting was in parts of New York, in parts of Chicago, in parts of California, and other places, and saw video on people really coming together to participate and to give their proposals on what they wanted to see in the community and voting on that, I was excited about it. I saw it as a way to really get more people involved in government. It's their tax money, so I thought this is a great thing, so I was really behind it. And UNCG had a demonstration of how participatory budgeting worked. Somebody gave a certain amount of money. It wasn't a huge amount of money, but it was a certain amount of money. And we got to hear all the projects, to vote on the projects, and the project that won got the $500 or $600, whatever it was. So the committee voted to have the city, to bring it to council, to have the city do participatory budgeting. Staff was fantastic. I really thought, well, we might get a little kickback because it's not something we've done, but that was not the case. Staff really worked hard on this, and I know there are a couple of council people who still don't aren't quite there, but the majority of council was excited about it, and so we did it for the first time this year. I am hoping that more and more people will become excited about the possibility of them having some say in how their money is going to be spent in their community. Ours is a little different from some cities. I really thought it would be really important that each district get a certain amount of money. That way nobody can say, well, this district gets everything, this district doesn't. Everybody will have the same amount, and they can decide what in their district they really want to have, and they can negotiate that, they can present that, they can vote on that.
Wonderful. And in this case, each district was given $100,000
That's
to
correct.
work with.
$100,000. We gave $500,000 and $100,000 to each of the 5 districts. That's right.
Yes, and that's a good chunk of change.
Well, I think so.
I think we're going to see some really nice projects.
Because you can really do more than one project. It depends on what you're doing. You know, some projects cost more than others, but There were communities that wanted playground equipment, some that wanted the library, for example, to stay open a couple of hours on a certain day longer. So it's really up to the people what they want and what they support.
Wonderful. And we'll follow some of those projects and
Yeah, we will.
do some updates
That'll
to
be
see
fun.
the improvements that have happened. Speaking of improvements, Willow Oaks is a recent example of the city trying to address the issue of affordable housing. Certainly there is a great need for more affordable housing.
There is.
How is the City Council working to bring that to reality?
Well, we have a bond, and that will be on the ballot, and I'm hoping that people will support that bond. You know, the thing is, when you provide affordable housing to people, the pride that they have in it, it just builds their self-esteem, their ego, their children's self-esteem and ego, and they become taxpayers, and that's important. I mean, all of it's important. Willow Oaks was really a wonderful experience for me. I got to work with residents who had been in public housing, as well as city staff and others. And it was really a great partnership. I learned a lot. I think Willow Oaks is a shining example of a wonderful affordable housing project. And not only that, it stimulated economic development in the community. There were other people, private folk, that built student housing and other kinds of things, and it really lifted that whole community. There's private housing, there are single family homes, there are condos, there are apartments, and in the mix are folk who live in public housing, but you would not know who those people are. So there's no stigma.
Right.
And that's a good thing as well. But we really do, we had a big surge several years ago to really do public housing. We did a great job. We partnered with churches and sororities and fraternities and various other groups to build houses and to help people. And I think we need to do it again. It certainly paid off. In many of the communities that were downtrodden, crime just went down to almost nothing. As I mentioned, the joy, the pride, and that they took in owning their own home was just phenomenal. So that's one of my passions. So I'm going to be pushing, and I hope folk will support this bond so that we can have more folk in affordable and safe housing.
And I think the definition of affordable housing is changing as we're looking at the demographics of our city.
Yeah.
So I think the bond referendum is going to speak to that as far as putting the money in place.
That's right.
Excellent. And you've expressed the necessity of developing more training opportunities for the workforce, and we have a large sector of the population that is younger and just entering the workforce. So what efforts are underway to put programs or resources in place for that group?
Well, we have wonderful colleges and universities, and we have a great community college at GTCC who really have done just great things in terms of that. But I would like our unemployment rate to go down to to almost nothing. And several years ago, when I learned that we needed welders, and we needed 2,000 some odd welders, and we did not have them, I said, we need to do more specific training in specific areas. And I would like to see that happen in various sections of Greensboro. I think GTCC and other partners can come together, and just like they offer GED classes all over the city, they can offer it in various areas of the city, especially areas where the unemployment rate is high. And we have a number of skills sets that people need to learn, and that people will hire them if they have that the knowledge and the skills to do that, and that's what I think we need to do. I think it would lower our unemployment rate. It would certainly help areas of the city who have high unemployment rates. and it would lower our poverty rate, and I'm very concerned about that.
Okay. And our last area of discussion talks about how one responsibility of the City Council is to appoint volunteers to serve on boards or commissions. So how do you encourage more minority involvement and representation on these advisory boards?
Well, you know, I'm always telling people, please use your gifts and talents to help make this community better. We have so many gifted and talented people, and they're all not college educated. Many of them have worked in various areas most of their lives, and they have a lot to offer as well. And so I always encourage people to serve who have various skills and talents. You know, our faith community, there are many people who, because they've worked in the temple or the church or the mosque, have various skills, and they can use them to help our city to be a better place for people to live. So I encourage them to do that. And we need a great diversity. And we are an interesting city. We have over, I think it's 103 or 3 to 5 different ethnic groups in this city, and 90 plus languages spoken in our schools. And we need to invite people in those various ethnic groups to serve and to be represented, and we need to welcome them. And many of them have gifts and talents and a background that we may not know very much about, but may be very beneficial to our city. So I encourage people, I motivate people, I talk to people, I beg people, so they will come and volunteer.
Now, you have actually been on the City Council for the better part of 23 years.
That's about right.
So over that time, have you at least seen an emergence of the diversity?
I have. We haven't done enough, but we need to continue to plug at that. But we certainly have improved.
Wonderful. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us?
Well, just, you know, that jobs are so important, and training people to do jobs that pay livable wages are important to me. So I'm hoping that people will support the housing bond. Parks and Recreation is one of the things I think is wonderful about this city. It provides our children with so many wonderful experiences. And we know when a child's involved in something positive, they stay out of trouble. So there are a number of things on the bond I want people to look at. Affordable housing is certainly one. Parks and Recreation is certainly one. And our public transportation is important, because many people still use public transportation to get to work and to get to recreation, to get to medical. And so I think those things are important for people to look at and consider.
Okay. Well, thank you, Mayor
You're
Pro Tem
welcome.
Johnson.
Nice to be here.
Always nice to speak with you.
And this is one of my favorite spots,
Yes.
McGirt Horton Library, and I'm excited about the Renaissance Center and the co-op right around the corner will be opening, and I hope people will come and support it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Council Conversations. Stay tuned for our future conversations with other members of the Greensboro City Council. We'll see you next time.